Welcome to Lizzie's Bedtime Stories Pride Special. I have a poet this evening, Doreen Perrine. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Lizzie. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I'm happy to have you on, and I'm always excited to get a poet to mix things up.
Well, I write mostly fiction, but I do like to dabble in poetry from time to time. And I like to think of my fiction writing as poetic. And I'm always inspired by poetry.
So the story that you're reading for this special, why did you choose it?
This poem, well, I saw your call for entries, and I wanted to get on board with something that expressed my feelings about pride and celebrating pride, which is something I love to do. I just went to the Pride Parade in New Paltz near my home in the Hudson Valley on Sunday. So just kicking off was great in itself.
I love Pride. Yeah, I have a lot of fond Pride memories. I only went to the New York Pride Parade once, and I think that's enough. It's New York City, it's very crowded. I actually was in Pride in Paris in '97, and I walked with the bar that I used to frequent when I visited Paris, and I actually was holding the banner, and there was a Scottish drumming section in front of me. So I was boogieing as we were doing our little march. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I usually march in the Dyke March, and I like to stand behind the drummers that start up the march. A lot of them are friends of mine, and it's just
the energy.
Feeling. Energy.
It's like incredible energy. So I'm anxiously awaiting listening to you read for me. So when you're ready, please start.
Okay, the title of the poem is Pride. Pride swells into a tidal wave of feeling, of knowing, breathing who we are, what we live, and why we march along these streets. Flags wave and unfurl into rainbows of multi-hued bands, for the borders crossed and knots untied. No amount of indigo could fill the demand. And no one feeling can put a finger on or center the bigness of this current from within the surge of a city crowd, or the stirring flow of a small town parade. Everyday heroes shout, dance, weep for joy in these streets. Every kind of street, from Broadway up to downtown, to the farthest end of little old Main Street. A crescendo of swelling is wending its way into the stuff of proud history. We swell, we rise, we crest onto shore after shore, street after street of our global uprising.
You're a very good reader.
Oh, I thank you.
So I was like, wow, that's really sensual.
Oh, I like that word.
I was like, wow, that's kind of sexy.
Well, I always we were talking about living in the city, and I always did a lot of open mics.
Yeah.
And, talk about energy, which, that there's kind of a collaboration almost when you're reading, or it becomes kind of performance oriented. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I did. There was an open mic for just about it. Any kind of whatever you wanted to do at the open mic, and I was young. I was 22, and one of my friends was always apt to push me into contests, dance contests, anything that, in front of a crowd. And I would always, I mean, I'm extroverted, but I always would have nerves. And so there was an open mic and she pushed me to do it. And I actually sang a song, or at least an element of the song that I actually remembered. Um, and like what was shocking was, thank God I carried it off, because that would be terrible. And
No, I had an extroverted friend who pushed me to do the open mics too.
I was like, yeah, we're both. I mean, we're both terrible. But yeah, she was always pushing me into it, and I did it. And what was interesting was, like, everybody got quiet when I did my thing, and then, they started talking up again, and it was great, but it was nerve wracking. And but the kinetic energy, like when people are in the right place to um, experience art, whatever that may be, it can make for a synergistic experience between the artist, the writer, the author, the poet, and the crowd. So.
Yes, I love that. I mean, that quiet you're talking about is people listening, people hearing your words, and to me, that's almost, I mean, that's collaborative, you know. So I find that very inspiring.
Plus, it has that, well, in the kindest connotation. My parents were hippies. My father was a folk singer,
Oh,
and so I was always, that kind of flower power, free love expression, be yourself kind of thing. And that's what I always kind of, I think that's carried me through a lot of things in my life. And I think the same thing is about, getting in front of a group of people and being, and sharing and stuff like that. And, even though this is a virtual forum, I am very pleased that you decided to be a part of this special. And I want to thank you for sharing your beautiful poem.
oh, thanks so much, Lizzie. I'm really pleased to be a part of it. Thanks for thinking of me.